Hey guys, it's Krystal Lucier here, also known as your home sweet home 509 realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I am so happy you're here. So, guys, it is getting into the very cold, very dark portion of our year, and it's one of those things where it's not quite the holidays yet, but it's just that you just need that extra push. I personally am drinking tons of tea. Tea is my friend right now. But today we're going to be talking about networking. We're going to be talking about focus, keeping one oar in the water, and what does that even mean? In business plan time. Before we do that, though, I just wanted to get into um, a quick little thing. So when you go to like a Tim Hortons or you go to Starbucks, I personally would like a better tea selection. So this year, as I said, I'm drinking lots of tea. It's very chilly out. But this year I'm finding that I want better tasty tea. So I've been ordering it like a fiend on Amazon. So there's ginger tea and Bengal spice tea and sugar cookie tea and chocolate peppermint tea and vanilla tea and apple cider maple tea. Like it's just so delicious. So might I recommend go on a little bit of a fun time. If you go to a good, like the superstore will have tons of tea as well, but go get some delicious tea. I also have this fun tea infuser from back in the day when I was a David's tea lover, but yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it. So I digress. On back to our regularly scheduled program and why you guys are here. So, number one, networking. So we talk about networking a lot. And I think one of the most important things with networking is to remember why you are doing it. So this might be a bit of a repeat from previous episodes, but I think it's important and I think it's always good to have a reminder. So we are going to be having a lot more guests. I'm very excited with our guest lineup, but we just had Delinda Crampton on, and Delinda Crampton and I, we have the same coach, Coach Tony. Coach Tony is awesome. And when I told him that we were having an interview, he said, "Oh my goodness, you guys are both like powerhouse networkers. I bet you that's going to be a great interview." Spoiler alert, guys, it is a great interview. You should listen to it. And Linda's just amazing. But the thing is with networking, so I'm just going to go really quick into what to do and what not to do. When I first moved to Guelph, Ontario, and this was like years and years ago, I didn't know anyone. I was young, a little foolish, and I thought, oh my goodness, here I am. Look out, Guelph, here I come. Um, Guelph did not have to look out because it took me a little bit longer than I thought to sell a house. But what I did in that time is I started networking. And I mean, what do you do when you don't know people? You just go and you try to meet people. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I'd first go and I'd go to these events and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Krystal. I'm a realtor. Trust me with your clients, blah, blah, blah." And people are like, "Who? Who are you? What? Clients?" People don't really care who you are until they know who you are. And they don't really care what you do until they know who you are and they like you. So you need to put in time with people. So here I was going and thinking, like, I'm going to get business from these events. And you do get business from these events, but not the way you think. So I'd first go, there's a really good book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I 100% recommend it. Even if you're not a reader, listen to it. There's a few really, really good things in there. One of the things I was doing wrong as a networker is I was talking more than I was listening. Um, so, right, you have one mouth, two ears. You should be listening more than you're talking. But the reason for that, so like I like understanding why, hopefully you guys do too. The reason that you talk less and you listen more is that people like to talk about themselves and they like to answer questions. So I would just ask questions. The other thing you want to do is learn people's names. So back in university, I thought I was a cool cat because I didn't know anyone's name. I was like, oh, I don't remember names. It was like my thing. I want to go back in time and give myself a little bop on the head, but um, people would remember my name. I have a pretty unique name, Krystal with a K and a Y. Um, but and I would come up with tricks. Like if I forgot someone's name, I'd be like, how do you spell that again? And you don't want it to be like B-O-B because then you're busted. You just forgot their name. Um, but then beyond that, I also didn't love it when people said my name. So I didn't say people's names. All this to say, what one of the lessons in the book is that you want to say people's names quite often. Plus, the more you say it, the more you'll remember it. What? I know, mind blown. But you say the name quite a few times. So let's say it's Sarah, right? And so you're like, nice to meet you, Sarah. And then don't say it like 10 times in a row because they'll think that you're you're a little special. But just nice to meet you, Sarah. And then you just ask questions like what brings you here? How did you get into your career? What did you do before? Sarah, this is my friend Joe. Joe, Sarah. Sarah does blah blah blah. Joe does this. So there's a million ways to do it. But the reason you do it is that everyone's favorite word is their own name. And I've gotten over my dislike of people saying my name, and now I appreciate it. So the more you say it, the more you remember it. And when you show someone that you not only have talked with them, you've listened to them, but you remember their name, it really goes above and beyond because you're not just like bag them and tag them. Like you're like, let's get to know you. A coach of mine had a suggestion, like if you have a little notepad with you, you can write their name and a couple facts that they gave you, right? Because how good does it feel if someone you run into someone and then the next time they see you, they're like, "Hey, how's your cat?" And you're like, "I cannot believe I told you Fluffy was getting a new collar and you remembered." Not a cat person, so I don't know. Maybe they get new collars. But the thing is like it goes so far. I had a client and I always remember her granddaughter's names. So when I met her, she didn't have granddaughters yet. Her son and his wife had gotten married. They ended up having babies, and I would always reach out and say, how are the kids?" Um, and I remember she told me years ago, she's like, "You are our person. Like, you remember our grandkids' names, you remember our kids' names, you remember the details about us." And the thing is, guys, my brain is only so big. I didn't always remember that, but I wrote it down in my database and it was there. So before I call, I'm reviewing and going, okay, there it is. Now, they were probably a little bit easier to remember because I talk to them all the time, but it is easy to give someone space in your database and space in your mind, right? So, and then, but it means so much. Okay, so you're asking questions, you're saying their name. And then the other thing, what you're doing is you're remembering that the networking event is not your meeting. Do not hijack someone's meeting or someone's networking event and make it your own coffee meeting. That's lazy. And it's annoying because they want to meet more than one person when they're there. So if you kind of monopolize someone's time and you're maybe not reading the room properly, you may not have the best like impression of you in their mind when you leave. So what you want to do is have that great conversation, maybe 10 minutes at most, get their card, give them your card, get their card though, get their info, set an appointment, set a coffee date. Like this is a great launching pad to have a coffee and to get to know them even more when it is just the two of you for half an hour or an hour, right? Now little things like that, that's how I built my entire business. And it has to be authentic. You can't be faking it. But then I also would create my own networking things because I realized that there were so many people at these networking events that were just like, hey, take my card, take my card, take my card. I would rather get someone's card than give them my card if you have to choose because I can follow up. They may not follow up, right? They may not. And so I'm going to follow up. I'm going to find out more about them. And then I'm also going to, and here's the key with networking, figure out how to support their business. This one here, I can't believe it gets missed so many times. So, and some people just don't get it. Like, I have a very good friend and he's wonderful, wonderful. But sometimes when we're talking, I don't feel like he understands that supporting someone's business, their livelihood, includes supporting their business and their livelihood, right? So, and this actually happens quite often. Like people will think, oh, like, if I invite you to something, that's supporting your business. And it is. It absolutely is. But here's the thing. If you have a chance to support someone's business either by giving them a direct referral, using their business yourself, or in some way caring how they make money, you will be showing them that you support them. And that's the thing. Because here's the thing. Whether you're a realtor, whether you're a lender, whether you are a hairdresser, whatever you do, okay, whatever you need clients to make money. This is not a situation where people are getting a salary. So if you're not getting a salary, no one's paying you, that's the only way you make money. And if you're forward thinking enough, if you help someone make money, then they will have the money to buy your services or your products, right? And I'm not trying to make it sound overly simple, but I remember like, so I used to run networking groups, I still do. If I can, I support everyone's business, whether they are selling glass water bottles, whether they sell our bond, whether they are a financial planner, whether they are a lawyer, whether they're a lender, whether they're social media marketing. If there's a way for me to personally support and give referrals, I do both, right? So the reason, and here's the thing, this is why you personally support first. You can then honestly tell someone what it's like to work with that person, right? It's a huge deal. So, for example, I used to have a good friend in Guelph who sold Arbonne. If you don't know what Arbonne is, it's actually pretty cool. It's like health and wellness, it's skincare products, it's protein shakes, all sorts of things. But I wanted to try them before I could honestly tell someone to go and try them. Because here's the thing, your name and your reputation are important. So if you're just willy-nilly being like, go see this person, go see this person, and it doesn't work out, or that person treats them poorly, that's a problem. Like I'll find sometimes I'll try to connect with people for coffee and they're not interested in talking to me unless I have a client for them. And I'm not interested in having a client for them unless they sit down and talk to me, right? And it's just little things. Like, for example, if you know a realtor, okay, so you can't use every realtor, right? One person can usually use one realtor. But there is a way, if it comes down to it, you can make sure a realtor gets like a referral fee, right? If you find they're helpful, you can try and just show someone that you care about the bottom line for them, right? And it's a different way of thinking, but I promise you, if you can figure that out, sky's the limit. The other thing I do, thank you notes. Okay, so thank you notes. I use the Buffini notes. So here's my note, and our assistant puts them together. Thank you, Hannah. Put these, and then inside we have my card, letter from the heart, which I'll talk about in 1 second, and a little item of value. Okay, so the thank you note you send to the businesses. And you say, it was great to meet you, Sarah. I loved our chat at blah, blah, blah event, and I would love to continue to support each other's businesses. And then you do it, right? Then you go, you say it, and then you do it, and you mean it. And here's the thing, you don't have room for 10 Sarahs in your database or in your referral network. You can put them in. But if Sarah is really not interested in supporting your business, she will show you. And then maybe we move on to the next person who is wanting to support you while you try to support them, right? There's a reciprocity there. And it doesn't mean that if you give someone something, they have to give something to you, but they have to try to support your business, right? It can't just be one-sided. And if it is one-sided in that, like, it just doesn't feel right. Um, so when you're networking, what you're trying to do is find your network, literally in the word, of like-minded individuals where you can support each other and help clients with the same level of service and integrity, right? So it sounds like super fancy, but it really just comes down to find people that you know, like, and trust, who know, like, and trust you, and help people together, right? Having a good database is important. So with this networking, you need a list of these relationships so that you can keep in touch with them, so you can invite them to things, so that you can refer them. When I'm referring, which is a big piece of networking, I always do an email introduction. So you can just hand a card over. You can, and let someone know, hey, Sarah, boom, told my clients to give you a call. And that's great that Sarah's going to be like, thank you. However, the clients may never call. She doesn't have their name. She doesn't have their contact info. There's no way for her to follow up. She's just going to kind of hope that they get in touch with her. And on the client side, they don't know Sarah. So, like you said, she's great, but what if they get nervous? It's not their job to go calling people. It's actually Sarah's job to call clients. And it's my job to call clients. And it's your job to call clients. It's not the client's job to call us. So, if they call, they may feel nervous about it. Sarah doesn't know them either, so they have to be like, "Hey, Krystal, Krystal Lee Moore introduced us, and she wanted us to call you." And then Sarah's like, "Okay." Hopefully, she remembers the call from me, and she's like, "Okay, okay. Who are you? Like, what do you?" It's just very bumpy. There's a way better way to do it. I like the email introduction. You let both people know what's happening. You're like, "Hey, Sarah, this is Bob and Mary. They would like to, I don't know what job we gave Sarah, but they would like to buy a house. They need to be pre-approved. Sarah's now a mortgage broker. They need to be pre-approved. And of course, I thought of you because you're wonderful. Here's their phone number. Um, Bob and Mary, this is Sarah's info. As you guys are such great people, I'm sure you will get along really well with Sarah. Here's her phone number. And then you're like, if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know. I will follow up next week and see how it went. Warmly, Krystal. Now, if they get busy, it's in the email. Also, you get credit for that connection, right? Forever. It's like branded in their email, unless they're like a super deleter, but it's right there. So they don't have to worry about like like how did we connect? Where did it come from? It's right there. So Sarah will feel grateful. Bob and Mary will feel grateful. I feel grateful that I have both of them in my network. It really is like a triple win, and I recommend it. Because the other thing is that next time Sarah has a referral for me, she may do the email intro, which is so much better than being like, I told someone to call you, right? We still appreciate the I told someone to call you or I gave someone your card. It just doesn't help as much as we might want it to. Okay, so focus. Okay, so keep one oar in the water. Last week, what we talked about with Delinda Crampton, she mentioned that term. And I thought it was important because it's a big piece of my business too. But I realized as I'm speaking to a whole audience, you guys all might be going, keep one what? So keep one oar in the water is a Buffini thing. I usually say keep one toe in the water, but here's the thing. There's going to be seasons in your business, in your week, in your day where you just can't. You just can't. You're busy, life happens, like whatever it is. But there's something called the win the day formula. Okay. So the win the day formula, win the week formula, it's basically if you can do 2 hours of solid lead generation, which means like face to face, voice to voice with clients and people and contacts, 2 hours a day for 4 days a week, for 3 weeks every month, and for 8 weeks, sorry, 8 months every year, you will blow the competition away. Okay, so I'm going to say it again because it is not that hard. 2 hours a day for 4 days a week. Okay, 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, 3 weeks out of every month, and 8 months out of every year. Okay, so if you just do that, you will blow the competition away. Now, the one oar in the water, let's say you can't do that. You're burned out. Maybe you've gone through something emotionally. Maybe there's a tragedy, whatever it is. Can you make one call? Can you send one note? Can you have coffee with one person? Can you just do one? Right? That's what it means. Where you aren't crushing it, but you're not letting it go either. Right? You're just, and I've had ups and downs. I've had some really hard times where I kept one toe in the water. And here's the thing. If you do the networking, like I said, and you're going to end up working by referral, which is the whole point with the Buffini system. And those seeds that you were sowing, all that work that you did will come back. So you're keeping one toe in the water, one oar in the water, and your business will be okay because you've put the work in, you've put the time in. And then when you get a little bit better, you just do a bit more. You just do a bit more until you can get back to your normal. For me, for win the day, I think I have to do 10 calls, two notes, two pop buys. Pop by, as a reminder, is a little gift that you bring to your clients. I do small ones that they get every time they see me. But you also can do like a bigger something that you drop off seasonally. Fun fact, there's also gonna be we're gonna find out about it soon, but there's gonna be a pretty cool push with Buffini, whether you're a member or not, to rock 2026. So stay tuned. There is a the coaching Buffini coaching live on December 3rd, and they do the bold predictions. So that's for the market, but the live coaching on December 3rd is really, really good. If you're not registered, you do not have to be a Buffini member. But I definitely recommend listening. If you don't have a chance to listen, you might be able to do a replay, but it's a good idea to try and listen. So Buffini coaching live, December 3rd. Take a look. Okay, so now business plan time. So this is the time of year when we're needing to do our business plan. What does that mean to you? Most people don't have a business plan. They don't have written goals. They don't have a business plan. And I believe Joe Nigo said it best. If you don't have a goal, then you will hit it every time. And so the key with the business plan is just to set out like what's the plan? What themes are you going to have? Will you have client parties? Are you going to have networking parties? Are there things that you want to learn about? Are there people you're going to connect with? How many calls do you want to make? How much money do you want to make? How many deals do you want to do? Is there something that you're really hoping to do, maybe volunteer-wise in your industry? Is there um, is there a plan you have? Like maybe you're a realtor and you want to open a PREC, a personal real estate corporation. Spoiler alert, we're going to have a podcast about that soon. But maybe it is, and you don't know anything about it. And whenever you go look it up, it's like conflicting information. But maybe that's going to be on the goal, right? So there's a whole business plan. You can get them. I know with Buffini, we have one for one-to-one coaching members. Usually, if you have a coach, they're going to have you fill it out. If you don't have a coach right now, not the end of the world. You can still, there's so many different business planning sessions that are out right now. Um, in our office, we're doing one with Wade Webb on this week on Thursday. There's also one, I believe, with a gentleman named Aaron West. There's so many different ones. Just basically Google business planning session. So you can do a session. You can also just find a generic printout of a business plan for realtors or for your industry. The reason it's important is that you need the goal. You need to know what you're doing so that you can make a plan, right? You don't want to just go haphazard, figure it out, because then that's what your business will look like. In the spring, which we're anticipating will be very busy, most people do the bulk of their business in the spring market. So if you're not prepared for it, then you may be letting an opportunity slip by, right? So get the business plan, block out some time. If you're not good at blocking out time, go to one of these sessions. There's so many right now. And the key is just, even if you, let's say you missed it, there's probably a replay. You might be able to find it on YouTube. I'm sure with all the technology and all the resources, the key will just be finding the one that works for you. But biggest, like the baseline things, you want to figure out how much money you want to make, what your tax rate is, how many deals you want to do, or how many clients you want to have. Is there some, and then beyond that, what else do you want to do? Because it's not just about numbers, right? It's about your life. You're built working in this business that you've chosen to have a better life than you would otherwise, right? Why else would we take on the stress? So, um, the key is just to figure out how can you take kind of a roadmap of next year and put that into a plan with some goals. So you can do, and you can break that down any way you want. You can do monthly goals, you can do quarterly goals, you can be fancy with the 12-week year. So 12-week year is designed basically instead of looking at a 1 year goal, you look at 12 weeks, and it's because that's what the athletes do. And athletes, I think, are superior in goal setting to a lot of us, especially Olympians. Good job, Olympians. Um, but basically, the 12-week year is just to keep the momentum high, right? So you're just making sure you figure it out, you get those goals, and then like the deadline approaches much faster. And I think the theory behind that is if you put goals in January and then you're supposed to get them in December, come like December 24th, you're like, oh no. Or come like December 1st, you're like, oh, let's go. And you're not going to be able to get them done. But in the 12 weeks, you kind of take your year and you break it into the 12 weeks and you can really get some momentum going. So guys, just to recap, from the beginning, tea is amazing, and might I recommend we all have it because it's so cold outside. Networking is so important, and learning to do it right not only will help your business, but you will love it. When I was doing it the wrong way, I was so tired. I did not like networking events, and now I love them. They energize me. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm learning more about people. It's fantastic. Um, Keeping one oar in the water or one toe in the water is a very important thing, but making sure that you're doing that win the day. What are the minimum things you need to do to really push your business forward? And in that, 2 hours a day of face to face or voice to voice connection with people is important. And then it's time to do business plans. So whether you have, if you're with Buffini, you can already have it. But if you're not with Buffini yet, then there's a lot of other things you can do. And the key is just to create a plan. Maybe your plan is that you would like to get a coach with Buffini, um, or with whoever, right? There's a lot of options in Canada as well. Personally, I love Buffini, but at the same time, there's Richard Robbins, there's Kathleen Black. Um, there are others. I think in the US, there's the core training. Um, those are all the ones that I know about. I'm sure there's others, but the key is like find the one that resonates with you, and they will usually have a business plan. If you're not there yet, that's okay. You can still do a business plan. There are templates everywhere, and there are courses everywhere, free ones. And the key is just to keep that motivation and momentum high. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. I am Krystal Lee Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee. This is Realtor Life. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.